Hello, this is Paul Strummer, and this is a follow-up video to a video that I did ages ago, February 2013. I did this review of a Gear for Music electroacoustic guitar that had a condenser mic built in, and at the time I said that I used it to record my first album, and I said, well, I'll give you some hints on how I did that with Audacity. At the time, I did the review in 2013, early 2013. I recorded my album 2011. A lot changed in those 2 years. Later in 2013 I recorded a second album, and I kind of did things completely differently for the second album. And that was 2013, it's 2015 now, and I'm thinking that I'm doing things differently again now. But what I'll try and do is I'll do a short video to show you kind of how I did things with the first album. At the time I was using this thing, which is a Behringer guitar link, and I think I said it was about 25 quid at the time, but I think they've gone up now. This is about 34 quid looking at it now. And for that price range, for 37 quid, you can actually get one of these, which is a Gear for Music micro mixer. And I think this is a better deal actually, because it's still got the USB interface, so you can connect to your PC and do a recording there, but it allows you to have 4 inputs. So what I'll demonstrate is this instead, and there'll be other reasons why I'm demonstrating this later on as well. But it's equally valid with the Behringer. Obviously with the Behringer one, you would only be able to record one thing at a time, unless you had 2 of them and you were using 2 different recording devices. But what I'll demonstrate with this is we've got Audacity here, and once that's linked up, a bit like the Behringer one, you go into the recording drop down, and you've got things like Microsoft Sound Mapper and your microphone, but the thing that you want is microphone USB audio. If you select that option, that means that you'll be using the USB device that's linked in for your recording. I normally set the recording about halfway just to avoid clipping. You can always amplify it later. Okay, so I'll demonstrate. I'll set the recording button on. The vocal mic I've got is just a cheap Gear for Music one for the moment. This is nowhere near a perfect audio recording setup, but it's a good introduction to the basics. So I'll hit the record button. Obviously try and make your room as quiet as possible, turn off anything that's making noise like any electronic devices. When I was doing it a few years ago, I had the PC in a separate room and just used longer leads. Hit record, and I'm leaving it for a bit there for some background silence. And now I'll do a bit of recording. With the guitar, those are the settings that I'm using at the moment, but there'll be loads of tweaking that you'll do to try and get the sound that you want in particular. I'm using more condenser mic than piezo. The condenser mic, you'll also mess around with positioning depending on what sounds good to you anyway. Okay. I can't see the wood for the trees and the rot. I can't see what you have that I haven't got. I can't see, but I guess it must be a lot. Tell me a secret, what's special with you? 'Cause I'm sitting here in disbelief without any clue. Obviously nowhere near a perfect thing. I think, you don't want your nose touching the microphone either. That's probably not a good thing. I usually do it standing up, and I mean, when I was doing the album I was using a different microphone anyway, condenser mic and pop field filter as well. The pop filter didn't seem strong enough, so I put a sock over it to filter out even more poppings. So let's see what's recorded. Alright, stop that. Control 3, that shrinks things down so you can see things a bit better. And I'll put my earphones on so I'm going to listen. Hopefully you'll be able to listen to this in the final edit. Now I'll play some of the tweaking that you'll do to try and get the sound that you want in particular. I'm using more condensed. Now there's a silent bit. With the guitar. Let's go back even further. Right. There's a silent bit hopefully here. But that's showing some background noise. And what you want is a uniform bit of background noise. So let's select that bit and plug in. I'll make that smaller. Well, that sounds fairly uniform, that there's no ups and downs or bips in that. So then you go into Effect, Noise Reduction, get that noise profile. So that's getting your background noise profile. You then hit the Shift key, right, select the whole of the recording, and go back into Effect, go back into Noise Profile, Noise Reduction, sorry, and click OK. And what that will do is it will take the previous noise profile that you've taken as background, and it will remove that background from that sample. Now I think the settings that I had on that, I'll just go back in, noise reduction, I think the default was that there's less noise reduction, but I just increased that all the way over to the right there. No, let's just cancel that. So hopefully if I play that now, it's fairly silent at the start. And then we'll get over to where the music starts. I can't see the wood for the trees and the rot. I can't see what you have that I haven't got. Obviously you'll be doing some tweaking as to what your preferences are in terms of what the vocal levels are compared to the guitar levels, and you can do that here. But let's see. So we've got the area that we want now, so I'll just get rid of the stuff we don't want. Delete. We don't want that other stuff there. Delete. Sometimes you'll find that there's a bit that's sticking out too much, and it's probably an unwanted thing. So what you can do is go in and reduce that if you need to. Zooming in is Control 1. So what I normally do is go select that area that's probably a bit too loud, and then Effect, Amplify, and reduce that. I mean, I didn't plan to have that loud bit, so that's obviously an unwanted thing, so I'll just reduce that. And do it again, Control R, do it again. Again, probably. Right, this is Control 3 now. And when you haven't got those spikes, it means that it's easier for you to amplify the rest of the stuff even more. So now I'm going to Effects, Amplify, and it gives me quite a bit of amplification, 13 before anything gets clipped. So I'll clip it up there. There's one bit there that's the red bit that's clipping. The red line show where there's clipping, which means it gets too loud. And a good thing with Audacity is you go into View and click on that Show Clipping, so it shows all the areas that are bad. And with that area, you can again go in and Control 1, zoom in, and reduce that if you need to. Reduce amplification. Just just don't like the red bits there. Okay, zooming out again, and what you've got there.
I can't see the wood for the trees and the rot. I can't see what you have that I haven't got.
Obviously for a very short demo, but what you can also do is if you think you want to make it a bit more reverby, there's an effect here. You go into reverb. There's a load of different settings here, but if you click on the presets load, do something like small room bright, click OK, and then that will get you those settings. And you can preview that if you want, but I'll just click OK. And I'll add a bit of reverb to the whole track. Let's see what that sounds like.
I can't see the wood for the trees and the rot. I can't see what you have that I haven't got. I can't see, but I guess it must be.
But that's just one, recording a whole track, it's going to take ages, and there'll be loads of tweaks and there'll be loads of mistakes that you want to edit out, and well, that's the nature of recording. And obviously, if you're like me and you make loads of mistakes, then it will take even longer. But it was kind of, I did it that kind of way for the first album. What I actually did was I used two different USB devices. One for vocals, one for guitar, so it meant that I could keep them separate. And Audacity doesn't allow you to record two at the same time, so what you have to do is get a different recording piece of software. You can use something like Microsoft Sound Recorder, hook both softwares up to different USB devices and then record them, and then bring them both into Audacity and mess around with them that way. So that's how I did it for the first album. The second album, which I recorded in 2013, I wanted to get rid of the laptop completely from the recording stage, so I invested in these small devices, which are, I'll stop recording now, which is a Line 6 backtrack, and these cost, I think at the time they cost about 60 quid, but I think you can get them for about 30, 40 quid now. They're mono audio recording devices, quarter-inch jack in, and you've got a USB connection, so you can then connect it up and copy the WAV file over and bring that into Audacity that way. And you can link this up to the mixer this way and record it that way. I think I've done it with what I've just been recording here, so might see how that sounds in comparison. But the good thing about this, for the second album, I had a better mixer than this. This is just for demo purposes, really. But with my other mixer, I pan vocals to the left and guitar to the right, and I used two of these, so it meant I could record separately and then bring them into Audacity. But more importantly, in the last year or so, I've been using these at open mic gigs, and whoever's on the sound at the open mic, you just ask whether they've got any spare output ports, plug that into the mixer, and then you've got your live recording. And that's what I've used to create this live bootleg CD, which has got loads of my live recordings on. With this, it's obviously a mono recording, but you can bring it into Audacity, duplicate the tracks, time shift slightly so that it gives a more stereo effect, and mess around with it that way until you've got something that you think sounds good. So, all in all, I'd say if I was giving advice now, I'd say use these kind of things and forget about the laptops for recording. But there's still a lot of things that you can do in Audacity, and you still need Audacity as a cheap way of doing things without having to pay for any software, because it's open source. So the micro mixer, I still think that's quite a good buy as well for 36, 37 quid. The Give Music, was it MX4U? Still not a bad buy. These things still okay, but they seem a bit costly compared to these now, which do the same thing. So not too sure about these anymore, but I'll definitely use these back in 2000. I was using them 2011, 2013. But things move on, and I'll probably have a completely different way of doing things come next year anyway. But I hope some of this has been useful to you. So good luck with your recording. Thanks for listening. Cheers. Okay, just as an add-on to what I've been demonstrating previously, that recording that I did, I also recorded it using the backtrack device. So I'll show you how this kind of thing works instead. Now obviously you can have this connected to your mixer at the open mic, so you don't need to worry about the laptop, and then you just use the laptop later on for editing. So backtrack device, recording, it's linked up using USB. I'll see what's going on. Okay, this was the previous recording, so I'll just open the it should be this last one, I think. Let's open that. It looks like it's around there that the recording was made. So let's just check whether anything there's any sound. I'll plug this in so you can actually hear what I'm hearing as well. So it's around there. I'll just copy all that. Edit, copy, do file new, and then edit, paste, and then amplify that. And let's see what we've got. Control 3. So this is a recording that's on the backtrack device. I'll play that. And what you should find is that there's less noise doing it this way as well, because there's some noise involved in the laptop and the USB stuff. Depending on your recording device, on the previous one, I mean, I used a PC originally, and that had less noise than the laptop. But the good thing about this one, there is less noise, and there's still some background noises coming from things like the microphone.
I can't see the wood.
I could try and remove that if I wanted to. Let's see. Is there a silent area? What sounds good to you anyway? Yeah, I don't think I won't even bother with that. Because I've demonstrated noise removal before, so I'll just get the actual track. Oh yeah, that spike again that I didn't like before. I'll leave it in this time anyway. I'll amplify that further. No, I don't like red lines, I'm going to have to do something about that. What I usually do when I'm selecting these is try and get the waveform where it's at the 0 mark. And then effect, amplify. It says amplify, but it's used to de-amplify as well. So let's move that and let's see what that like. I'll do it one more time. Control R. That's not too bad. Now amplify it all up again. Yeah, well, I'll leave that there for the moment. But what you'll find is that this is a mono audio device, and that's a mono thing there. So what I then normally do is edit, duplicate, do it again, and that's giving me 4 tracks now. I usually just use 3, so I'll delete one of them, pan one of them over to the left, the middle one I'll keep central, the other one I'll keep pan over to the right. The left and right pans I reducing the gain. Reduce those in gain as well down to -8 or 7. Do -8. And what you'll hear now is probably still a noise.
I can't.
The thing about changing these tracks is that you can then time shift them to give a more stereo effect. And what I do then is zoom in, and I zoom in until I see a 0.1, zoom in further until I can see a 0.02 and a 0.04. And I then, on the top track, I select from 0.02 to 0.04. Select that area there. Click boundaries, split, and that basically just gives me 2 marker points. And then what I do is go in the time shift tool, click on that. I move the central track to the middle and the right track to the right tag point there. So what you find then is, let's see, click on the selection tool again, go back in there. I can do a Control J to join them so they're not split anymore. But what you should be able to see there is there's 3 tracks and one's shifted slightly to the right and the other one's shifted slightly further on. So that means that the sound is arriving at slightly different times, and that gives you a fake stereo effect. And what I normally do then is I just select to delete the bit at the start. Hit delete. And yeah, this is probably a better demonstration. So if you see those waveforms, you've then got, out of those 3 channels, sounds arriving at slightly different times. So the left channel arrives first, and the central channel, which is the louder channel, arrives a bit later. The right channel arrives slightly later on than that. And let's see what that sounds like.
I can't see the wood for the trees on the right. I can't see what.
And then rewind. And then if you want to apply any reverb, go back in here. I normally just apply it then to one of those tracks, the central one. Effect, reverb. Actually, I'm going to make it slightly smaller, 20, less reverb. Room size 20. Hopefully that'll make it less, I think. Done that, and effects, amplify that. And then you can do things like, let's see what that sounds like.
I can't see the wood for the trees on the right. I can't see what you have.
So you get an idea then that, you know, that's what you can do to mess around. You've got this cheap mono recorder, but you can take it out to live gigs, ask to hook it up to the sound guy's mixer desk, record yourself live, and then bring it into Audacity, mess around with it, try and make it a bit more fake stereo, and do any other tweaks that you need, and then export the audio as a WAV file or MP3 that way. So hopefully this has given you some food for thought as well. So thanks for having a listen to this as well, and enjoy your recording. Thank you.